Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read 1 Chronicles 29, 2 Chronicles 1 to 4, Psalm 132 and Proverbs 14. Let's get started. 1 Chronicles 29. Then King David spoke to the whole committee. He said, God has chosen my son Solomon, but Solomon is young. He's never done anything like this before. The task is huge. This grand and wonderful temple won't be built for human beings. It will be built for the Lord God. With all my riches, I've done everything I could for the temple of my God. I've provided gold for the gold work and silver for the silver work. I've provided bronze for the bronze work and iron for the iron work. I've given wood for the things that will be made out of wood. I've given onyx and turquoise for the settings. I've given stones of different colors and all kinds of fine stone and marble. I've provided everything in huge amounts. With all my heart, I want the temple of my God to be built. So I'm giving my personal treasures of gold and silver for it. I'm adding them to everything else I've provided for the holy temple. I'm giving 110 tons of gold and 260 tons of pure silver. Cover the walls of the buildings with it. Use the walls of the buildings with it. Use it for the gold and the silver work. Use it for everything the skilled workers will do. How many of you are willing to set yourselves apart to the Lord today? Many people were willing to give the offering. They included the leaders of the families and the officers of the tribes of Israel. They included the commanders of thousands of men and commanders of hundreds. They also included the officials who were in charge of the king's work. All of them gave to the work on God's temple. They gave more than 190 tons of gold and 380 tons of silver. They also gave 675 tons of bronze and 3,800 tons of iron. Anyone who had valuable jewels added them to the treasure for the Lord's temple. Jehiel was in charge of the temple treasure. He was from the family line of Gershon. The people were happy when they saw what their leaders had been willing to give. The leaders had given freely. With their whole heart, they had given everything to the Lord. King David was filled with joy. David praised the Lord in front of the whole community. He said, Lord, we give you praise. You are the God of our father Israel. We give you praise forever and ever. Lord, you are great and powerful. Glory, majesty, and beauty belong to you. Everything in heaven and on earth belongs to you. Lord, the kingdom belongs to you. You are honored as the one who rules over all. Wealth and honor come from you. You are the ruler of all things. In your hands are strength and power. You can give honor and strength to everyone. Our God, we give you thanks. We praise your glorious name. But who am I? And who are my people? Without your help, we wouldn't be able to give this much. Everything comes from you. You've given back to you only what comes from you. We are outsiders and strangers in your sight. So were all our people who lived long ago. Our days on this earth are like a shadow. We don't have any hope. Lord our God, we've given more than enough. We've provided it to build a temple where you will put your holy name. But all of it comes from you. All of it belongs to you. My God, I know that you tested our hearts, and you are pleased when we are honest. I've given all these things just because I wanted to. When I did it, I was completely honest with you. Your people have also been willing to give to you, and I've been happy to see this. Lord, you are the God of our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. Keep these desires and thoughts in the hearts of your people forever. Keep their hearts faithful to you. Help my son Solomon serve you with all his heart. Then he will keep your commands and rules. He will do what you require. He will do everything to build the grand and wonderful temple I've provided for. Then David said to the whole community, Praise the Lord your God. So all of them praised the Lord. He is the God of their people who lived long ago. The whole community bowed low. They fell down flat with their faces toward the ground. They did it in front of the Lord and the king. The next day they offered sacrifices to the Lord. They brought burnt offerings to him. They sacrificed 1,000 bulls, 1,000 rams, and 1,000 male lambs. They also brought the required drink offerings, and they offered many other sacrifices for the whole community of Israel. They ate and drank with great joy that day. They did it in front of the Lord. Then they announced a second time that Solomon was king. He was the son of David. They anointed Solomon in front of the Lord. They anointed him to be ruler. They also anointed Zadok to be priest. So Solomon sat on the throne of the Lord. He ruled as king in place of his father David. Things went well with him. All the people of Israel obeyed him. All the officers and warriors promised to be completely faithful to King Solomon. So did all of King David's sons. The king greatly honored Solomon in the sight of all the people. He gave him royal majesty. Solomon was given more glory than any king over Israel ever had before. David was king over the whole nation of Israel. He was the son of Jesse. He ruled over Israel for 40 years. He ruled for 7 years in Hebron and for 33 years in Jerusalem. He died when he was very old. He had enjoyed a long life. He had enjoyed wealth and honor. David's son Solomon became the next king after him. The events of King David's rule from beginning to end are written down. They are written in the records of Samuel, Nathan, and Gad, the prophets. The records tell all about David's rule and power. They tell about what happened concerning him and Israel and the kingdoms of all the other lands. 2 Chronicles 1. Solomon was the son of David. Solomon made his position secure with his kingdom. The Lord his God was with him. He made Solomon very great. Solomon spoke to the whole community of Israel. He spoke to the commanders of thousands of men and the commanders of hundreds. He spoke to the judges of all and all the leaders in Israel. He spoke to the leaders of Israel's families. Solomon and the whole community went to the high place of Gibeon. That's because God's tent of meeting was there. The Lord said that Moses had made the tent in the desert. David had carried up the ark of God from Kiriath Jearim. He had it brought to the place he had prepared for it. He had set up a tent for it in Jerusalem. But the bronze altar that Bezalel had made in Gibeon was in Gibeon. Bezalel was the son of Uri. Uri was the son of Hur. The altar was in front of the Lord's holy tent. So Solomon and the whole community asked the Lord for advice in Gibeon. Solomon went up to the bronze altar in front of the Lord at the tent of meeting. Solomon sacrificed 1,000 burnt offerings on the altar. That night God appeared to Solomon. He said to him, "Ask for anything you want me to give you." Solomon answered God, "You are very kind to my father David. Now you have made me king in his place. Lord God, let the promise you gave to my father David come true. You have made me king. My people are as many as the dust of the earth. They can't be counted. Give me wisdom and knowledge. Then I'll be able to lead these people. Without your help, who would be able to rule this great nation of yours?" God said to Solomon, "I'm glad that those are the things you really want. You have not asked for wealth, possessions, or honor. You have not even asked to have your enemies killed. You have not asked to live for a long time. Instead, you have asked for wisdom and knowledge. You want to be able to rule my people wisely. I have made you king over them, so wisdom and knowledge will be given to you. I will also give you wealth, possessions, and honor. You will have more than any king before you ever had, and no king after you will have as much." Then Solomon left the high place at Gibeon. He went from the tent of meeting there to Jerusalem, and he ruled over Israel. Solomon had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horses. He kept some of them in the chariot cities. He kept others with him at Jerusalem. The king made silver and gold as common in Jerusalem as stones. He made cedar wood as common as there as sycamore fig trees in the western hills. Solomon got horses from Egypt and Cu. The king's buyers purchased them from Cu at the current price. They could get a chariot from Egypt for 15 pounds of silver. They could get a horse for less than 4 pounds of silver. They sold horses and chariots to all the Hittite and Aramean kings. Chapter 2. Solomon gave orders to build a temple. That's where the Lord would put his name. Solomon also gave orders to build a royal palace for himself. He chose 70,000 men to carry things. He chose 80,000 to cut stones in the hills. He put 36,000 men in charge of them. Solomon sent a message to Hiram. Hiram was king of Tyre. Solomon said, "Send me cedar logs, just as you did for my father David." He sent him cedar to build a palace to live in. Now I'm about to build a temple. The name of the Lord my God will be there. I will set the temple apart for him. Sweet-smelling incense will be burned in front of him there. The holy bread will be set out at regular times. Burnt offerings will be sacrificed there every morning and evening. They will be sacrificed every Sabbath day. They will be sacrificed at every new moon feast. And they will be sacrificed at every yearly appointed feast of the Lord our God. That's a law for Israel that will last for all time to come. The temple I'm going to build will be beautiful. That's because our God is greater than all other gods. So who is able to build a temple for him? After all, the heavens can't hold him. In fact, not even the highest heavens can hold him. So who am I to build a temple for him? It will only be a place to burn sacrifices in front of him. Send me a man skilled at working with gold, silver, bronze, and iron. He must also be able to work with purple, blue, and bright red yarn. He must be skilled in the art of carving. Send him to work in Judah and Jerusalem with my skilled workers. My father David provided them to help me. Also sent me cedar, juniper, and algum logs from Lebanon. I know that your servants are skilled in cutting wood there. My servants will work with yours. They'll provide me with plenty of lumber. That's because the temple I'm building must be large and beautiful. I'll pay your servants. They will cut the wood. I'll pay them 36,000 tons of wheat that has been ground up. I'll pay them 3,000 tons of barley. I'll also pay them 120,000 gallons of wine and 120,000 gallons of olive oil. King Hiram of Tyre replied to Solomon. He wrote a letter to him. In it, Hiram said, "The Lord loves his people. That's why he has made you their king." Hiram continued, "I praise the Lord. He is the God of Israel. He made heaven and earth. He's given King David a wise son. You have good sense. You understand what is right. You'll build a temple for the Lord. You'll also build a palace for yourself. I'm sending Hiram Abi to you. He is very skillful. His mother was from Dan. His father was from Tyre. He is trained to work with gold, silver, bronze, and iron. He knows how to work with stone and wood. He can also work with purple, blue, and bright red yarn, and fine linen. He's skilled in all kinds of carving. He can follow any pattern you give him. He'll work with your skilled workers. He'll also work with those of your father David. David was my master. Now please send us what you promised. Send us the wheat, barley, olive oil, and wine. And we'll cut all the logs from Lebanon that you need. We'll make rafts out of them. We'll float them by sea down to Joppa. Then you can take them up to Jerusalem." Solomon counted all the outsiders who were living in Israel. He did it after his father David had counted them. There were 153,000 of them. He chose 70,000 to carry things. He chose 80,000 to cut stones in the hills. He put 3,600 men in charge of the people to keep them working. Chapter 3. Then Solomon began to build the temple of the Lord. He built it on Mount Moriah in Jerusalem. That's where the Lord had appeared to Solomon's father David. The Lord had appeared at the threshing floor of Araunah. Araunah was from Jebus. David had provided the threshing floor. Solomon began building the temple on the 2nd day of the 2nd month. It was in the 4th year of his rule. God laid the foundation for God's temple. It was 90 feet long and 30 feet wide. Solomon's men followed the standard measure used at that time. The porch in front of the temple was 30 feet across and 30 feet high. Solomon covered the inside of the temple with pure gold. He covered the inside of the main hall with juniper boards. Then he covered the boards with fine gold. He decorated the hall with palm tree patterns and chain patterns. He decorated the temple with valuable jewels. The gold he used came from Proverbs. He covered the ceiling beams, door frames, walls, and doors of the temple with gold. He carved cherubim on the walls. He built the most holy room. It was as long as the temple was wide. It was 30 feet long and 30 feet wide. He covered the inside of the most holy room with 23 tons of fine gold. The gold on the nails weighed 20 ounces. For the most holy room, Solomon made a pair of carved cherubim. He covered them with gold. The total length of the cherubim's wings from tip to tip was 30 feet. One wing of the first cherub was 7.5 feet long. Its tip touched the temple wall. The other wing was also 7.5 feet long. Its tip touched the wingtip of the other cherub. In the same way, one wing of the second cherub was 7.5 feet long. Its tip touched the wing tip of the first cherub. So the total length of the wings of the two cherubim was 30 feet from tip to tip. The cherubim stood facing the main hall. Solomon made the curtain out of blue, purple, and bright red yarn and fine linen. The skilled worker sewed cherubim into its pattern. For the front of the temple, Solomon made 2 pillars. Each pillar was 26 feet tall. Each had a decorated top 7.5 feet high. Solomon made chains that were linked together. He put them on top of the pillars. He also made 100 pomegranates. He fastened them to the chains. Solomon set the pillars up in front of the temple. One was on the south, the other was on the north. He named the one on the south Jacob. The one on the north he named Boaz. Chapter 4. Solomon made a bronze altar 30 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 50 feet high. He made a huge metal bowl for washing. Its shape was round. It measured 15 feet from rim to rim. It was 7.5 feet high, and it was 45 feet around. Below the rim, there was a circle of bull figures around the bottom. In every 18 inches around the bowl, there were 10 bulls. The bulls were arranged in 2 rows. They were made as part of the bowl itself. The bowl stood on 12 bulls. 3 of them faced north, 3 faced west, 3 faced south, and 3 faced east. The bowl rested on top of them. Their right ends were toward the center. The bowl was 3 inches thick. Its rim was like the rim of a cup. The rim was shaped like the bloom of a lily. The bowl held 18,000 gallons of water. Solomon made 10 smaller bowls for washing. He placed 5 of them on the south side of the huge bowl. He placed the other 5 on the north side. The things used for the burnt offerings were rinsed in the smaller bowls, but the priest used the huge bowl for washing. Solomon made 10 gold lampstands. He followed the pattern the Lord had given him. He placed the lampstands in the temple. He put 5 of them on the north side. He put the other 5 on the He put 5 of them on the south side. He put the other 5 on the north side. He made 10 tables. He placed them in the temple. He put 5 of them on the north side. He put the other 5 on the north side. He put 5 of them on the south side. He put the other 5 on the north side. He also made 100 gold sprinkling balls. He made the courtyard of the priests. He also made the large courtyard. He made doors for it. He covered the doors with bronze. He placed the huge bowl on the south side of the courtyard. He put it at the southeast corner. And Huram also made the pots, shovels, and sprinkling bowls. So Huram finished the work he had started for King Solomon. Here's what he made for God's temple. He made the 2 pillars. He made the 2 tops for the pillars. The tops were shaped like bowls. He made the 2 sets of chain that were linked together. They decorated the bowl-shaped tops of the pillars. He made the 400 pomegranates for the 2 sets of chain. There were 2 rows of pomegranates for each chain. They decorated the bowl-shaped tops of the pillars. He made the stands and their bowls. He made a huge bowl. He made the 12 bowls that were under it. He made the pots, shovels, and meat forks. He also made all the things used with them. Huram made all these objects for King Solomon, for the Lord's temple. He made them out of bronze. Then he shined them up. The king had them made in clay molds. It was done on the plains of the Jordan River with reed sackcloth and zephyr. Solomon made huge numbers of these things. There were too many of them to weigh. In fact, it was impossible to add up the weight of all the bronze. Solomon also made all the objects that were in God's temple. He made the golden altar. He made the tablets for the holy bread. He made the pure gold lampstands and their lamps. The lamps burned in front of the most holy room, just as the Lord required. He made the gold flowers. He made the gold lamps and tongs. They were made out of fine solid gold. He made the wick cutters, sprinkling bowls, dishes, and shallow cups for burning incense. All of them were made out of pure gold. He made the gold doors of the temple. They were the inner doors to the most holy room and the doors of the main hall. Proverbs 14. A wise woman builds a house, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. Whoever has respect for the Lord lives a good life, but those who hate him walk down an evil path. The proud words of a foolish person sting like a whip, but the things wise people say keep them safe. When there is no auction, the feed box is empty, but a strong one brings in huge harvests. An honest witness does not lie, but a dishonest witness pours out lies. Those who make fun of others look for wisdom and don't find it, but knowledge comes easily to those who understand what is right. Stay away from a foolish person. You won't find knowledge in what they say. People are wise and understanding when they think about the way they live. But people are foolish when their foolish ways trick them. Foolish people laugh at making things right when they sin, but honest people try to do the right thing. Each heart knows its own sadness, and no one else can share its joy. The houses of sinners will be destroyed, but the tents of honest people will stand firm. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. Even when you laugh, your heart can be hurt, and your joy can end in sadness. Those who are faithful will be paid back for what they've done, and good people will receive rewards for how they've lived. A childish person believes anything, but a wise person thinks about how they live. A wise person has respect for the Lord and avoids evil, but a foolish person has a bad temper and yet feels secure. Anyone who gets angry quickly does foolish things, and a person who is tricky is hated. Childish people act in keeping with their foolish ways, but knowledge-wise wise people feel like kings. Evil people will bow down in front of good people, and those who do wrong will bow down at the gates of those who do right. Poor people are avoided even by their neighbors, but rich people have many friends. It is a sin to hate your neighbor, but blessed is the person who is kind to those in need. Those who plan evil go down the wrong path, but those who plan good find love and truth. All hard work pays off, but if all you do is talk, you will be poor. The wealth of wise people is their crown, but the foolish ways of foolish people lead to what is foolish. An honest witness saves lives, but a dishonest witness tells lies. Anyone who shows respect for the Lord has a strong town, It will be a safe place for their children. Respect for the Lord is like a fountain that gives life. It turns you away from the jaws of death. A large population is a king's glory, but a prince without followers is destroyed. Anyone who is patient has great understanding, but anyone who gets angry quickly shows how foolish they are. A peaceful heart gives life to the body, but jealousy rots the bones. Anyone who crushes poor people makes fun of their maker, but anyone who is kind to those in need honors God. When trouble comes, sins are brought down. The godly people seek safety in God, even as they die. Wisdom rests in the hearts of those who understand what is right, and even among foolish people she makes herself known. Doing what is right lifts people up, but sin brings judgment to any nation. The king is pleased with a wise servant, but a servant who is full of shame stirs up the king's anger. Psalm 132. Lord, remember David, and all the times he didn't do what he wanted. Lord, he made a promise. Mighty One of Jacob, he made a promise to you. He said, I won't enter my house or go to bed. I won't let my eyes sleep. I won't close my eyelids until I find a place for the Lord. I want to build a house for the Mighty One of Jacob. Here are the words he heard in Ephrathah. We heard them again in the fields of Kiriath-Jearim. Let us go to the Lord's house. Let us worship at his feet. Let us say, Lord, rise up and come to your resting place. Come in together with the ark. It's the sign of your power. May your priests put on godliness as if they were ill with their clothes. May your faithful people sing for joy. In honor of your servant David, don't turn your back on your anointed king. The Lord made a promise to David. It is a firm promise that he will never break. He said, after you die, I will place one of your own sons on your throne. If your sons keep my covenant and the laws I teach them, then their sons will sit on your throne forever and ever. The Lord has chosen Zion. That's the place where he wants to live. He said, this will be my resting place forever and ever. Here I will sit on my throne, because that's what I want. I'll greatly bless Zion with everything it needs. I'll give plenty of food to the poor people living there. I'll put salvation on its priests as if it were their clothes. God's faithful people will always sing for joy. Here in Jerusalem I will raise up a mighty king from the family of David. I'll set up the lamp of David's kingdom for my anointed king. Its flame will burn brightly forever. I'll put shame on his enemies as if it were their clothes. But he will wear on his head a shining crown. Now that's done, I shall now do the Lord's Prayer. Please bow your heads. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as you have also forgiven our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.